an app that we can copy and paste across many devices. That's where our lives are right now. So, um,
This
but
is
we're
what we get
excited you
excited
guys
for.
are here. What's that, John?
That's what we get excited for.
Absolutely. Well, we're excited today. Let me get our recording going in case we need to get a replay of some people.
Yeah, we are.
Welcome, welcome. We're excited about today. This is something that I know is on everyone's mind. Come spring is summer is coming. It's like Game of Thrones, but for your school. Winter is coming here, so summer is coming. We know, unfortunately, that can have a negative impact on your enrollment and your student body. And we want to help equip you today with some strategies and some tools that will help you overcome that struggle and that hurdle that you all face. So welcome in. Please go ahead and chat in where you're at, where you're coming in from. We'd love to see who's in here, where you're from. A lot of different channels that we're on. So as usual, I'll kind of be here at the command center. So if I look away or I'm quiet for a while, it's because I'm engaging in different chat avenues to make sure we're getting you guys the clarity that you need to be successful with your school in the summertime. So I'm going to
Yes,
start looking at that now. John, go ahead and feel free to get us going.
absolutely. Yeah, looks like we got a good group on already. So I think, we're going to be talking a lot about those times when students want to pause and some strategies on how to keep them, but also some ways that some tools and some strategies that you can use to actually help train the students better. And I'm not talking about like changing your curriculum or doing anything different, but really taking your curriculum and amplifying it and making it more accessible to the students. And it's something that, man, this one I've been looking forward to because it's something as a parent of a student I wanted so badly, and it didn't exist. When my son was working his way up to become a black belt, and we were, a lot of his tests, every test, every belt test, every time he had to go up another level, he had to do, he had to memorize these forms, and he had to, that was the main thing, was these forms, but also just some of like the self-defense moves that he had to learn. And knowing the exact way to do it and the right way to do it was so hard to remember when we get home. My wife and I would both go and we'd sit in class with them and we'd watch the instructor do the moves, and we'd watch Colin practice it there in the school. But then as soon as we got home, it was like, what the heck did we do? And we're like on YouTube trying to find the the forms, and everybody calls them something different and everybody does them different. And it was just so challenging as a parent, like, as this is your customers, those are the people
Right.
paying the bill. And so to have something that we could look at and be easily accessible and to know that, hey, this is the right way to do it, it was so important. And so we're going to be getting into some of that. But really, I think, the big things that we're going to be looking at is, well, Travis, can you go through those
Yeah,
three?
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
we got three
kind of,
main things we want to talk
yeah,
about.
there's really three main things. One, this myth and this idea that sometimes we feel like, well, this is just how it is. And summer's going to take away X number of students, 10, 20, 25, 30, whatever the number is going to be. And that's just the way it is. And that's the business. And there's nothing I can do about it. So I just need to gear up for fall and try to recoup that. Hope they come back. And then we also tell ourselves when we lose students to the reasons that they tell us that they're leaving for vacation or, summer camp or whatever, we tell ourselves, well, they'll be back. And hey, a lot of times they are, but a lot of times they aren't. Sometimes we just try to reassure ourselves that they'll be back because we don't want to actually face the reality of, hey, this isn't a great scenario for them to come back, right? We're not setting them up to be able to make the right decision about coming back after that hiatus. And then, like John said, that idea that we can only, really add value to students while they're in the building, which that third piece is really the linchpin that solves the other two pieces, right? So feel free to chat if this has ever happened to you. You get or actually, I'm curious, what are the biggest reasons you hear that people are taking a break from your program over the
Mm,
summer? I'm
yeah.
curious what you all have. So go ahead and chat that in, what the biggest reasons you would hear that people are taking that break over the summer. And as you guys are chatting that in, we want to show you a way to help kind of overcome what is kind of an objection, but also in a way to provide value, right? We don't want to just try and, okay, other sports, baseball and soccer, right? Camps or other sports are coming up. This is a great way to solve that
Mm,
too.
yep.
Um, so we're not trying to like trick people or force them into like staying and doing something they don't want to do. Obviously, there's going to be some people that leave and they're going to use those excuses as a reason to leave, and that's okay. but there are a ton of students that love what you're doing, and we just want to keep them in the environment and keep them learning and keep them growing. So that way, if they do take a little bit of a break, they're not just lost, or it's easy, easy. It's like working out. If I stop working out for 3 months, it's easy to not continue to work out. Right? Oh, I'm going to work out again in the fall. Well, when the fall comes, it might be hard for me to get that motivation. So we want to show you guys a tool that's really going to solve all these things. These ideas of losing a lot of students in the summer. Looks like travel, vacation, playing baseball, Joe's saying, losing kids in the summer. Also, the idea of them coming back. How can we put them in position where they're going to come back? And then 3, like John said, as how can we continue to provide support and culture and instruction and growth outside of the 4 walls that we have in the building?
Exactly. Exactly. Looks like Facebook made an update and we can't stream live to the groups. So
Okay.
I'm just posting in the groups right now.
Cool.
So
That's
I'm gonna
okay.
get into some of that stuff. So yeah,
Love
it's
it.
good. You guys get the direct access. So I'm just got one more group to post in and then we're
Awesome. And Austin saying vacation, summer abroad, absolutely can't afford it with other camps is another thing too. Child too tired after all the camps, right? All these competitions for stuff, right? And then when you get into that competition of attention or time, money becomes a thing too. Hey, we're spending X number of dollars on camps this summer, or we're going and this vacation is going to be expensive. We can't afford to blank. And you are, as an owner, kind of put in a weird position. That's a hard thing to like say, well, if you can't afford it, then you still need to be like, oh, or he's going to lose his spot or she's going to lose their spot. It kind of creates like me versus you,
Yep.
which then that's not what we want at all. Right. So we
Mhm.
want to just find a way to provide value that they see, hey, we want to continue in some capacity. So that way, when things do free up, the natural inclination is to continue in a full-time capacity as well.
Exactly. Exactly. Awesome. So why don't we jump into some of this stuff here? How about that? What do you think? You think?
I think we should. I think we should kind of the veil back and what we're going to be doing here today,
Yeah,
specifically, John, as to how we're going to help people overcome this.
I love it. So we've done a lot of research. We've worked with a lot of schools and talked to a lot of parents, talked to a lot of owners, talked to a lot of students, even in like adult programs. And we've really kind of boiled down some of the key things in retention. And I'm going to share all those things with you right now. So the first one might not be so obvious, but this is actually the one that we found to be one of the top factors is a constant flow of new students. And you might be thinking like, well, what does that got to do with retention? But if you think about it from the perspective of the students and the parents of the students, if you have kind of a stagnant enrollment, if you just like, get a student and then you lose a student, you get a student, you lose a student, and your school's not busting at the seams, it's real easy for a person to be like, well, we're going to take a break and, it's not that exciting. But when you're constantly growing and you've got new students coming in, and of course, there's always going to be students leaving, but when new people are always coming, it creates this sort of group think among people where it's like, oh, there's something exciting happening here at the school and I want to be a part of it. And I don't want to lose out on and miss out on, what's happening and the growth and the newness of things. And also, if you don't have a constant flow of new students, what you might find is that some people get into like this elitist mindset, some of your students will, and they will not be happy when you do start to grow. And then they leave. So, let's say you're stuck at 25, 30 students, and then all of a sudden you bust into some growth period. People get into like this mindset of like, this is my club and I don't like all this new growth here. So I don't really want to be a part of this anymore. And then they leave. And so what you want to have is a constant flux, a constant growth so that people get used to that and they understand like, hey, this is a place to be. It makes people feel comfortable to stay longer. And really that's sort of it's a crux part of retention is growth. And so the second part of retention is we like to call learning how to give. And that's an acronym. It stands for goals, interests, value, and excitement. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing this. But when someone comes in for the first time, you want to make sure you understand what it is that person actually wants to learn or what they want their child to learn. If you're teaching children, what are their goals? Like, what do they want to get out of your classes? It's so important. And I think a lot of times, even as business owners, we forget like we're serving our customers, even though we call them students and they call us master. And, there's all these different coach or whatever. they there's still an aspect that they are paying for a service from your business, and we have to make sure that we're providing value that way in order to keep them around. The other thing is, what are they interested in? This is such a huge one for martial arts, for dance. When students have another activity that's a physical activity or some kind of thing that they leave to go do, I think you all know that your whatever you're instructing them in is actually helping them be better at those other things. So let's say you got a kid that quits for baseball season. Well, if they're in martial arts, they're learning a lot of physical skills and mental skills that are great
A
for
good example would
baseball.
be my daughter plays lacrosse. That's her primary thing, but she's also in theater.
Yep.
And you think, okay, well, how do those two things connect? Honestly, the footwork in lacrosse helps her become a better dancer in theater, the coordination, the timing, the endurance, all that kind of stuff. But really, the footwork, if we're looking at one key skill, the
Yep.
footwork that we teach her in lacrosse. I used to coach football for a very long time, and offensive linemen, we would actually send them to dance classes because offensive line is all footwork. It's all about where your feet can take you. So if we can get rid of this idea of it's us versus that other sport and understand, hey, this is something they're interested in, and it's not like a slight to me if they need to go to this camp or something like that, we can then provide the value of, well, did you know dance is actually going to make your son a better football player?
Right.
Did you know that lacrosse is going to make, and here's how this is going to apply, and that now we're going to have this great cohesive relationship with the family instead of us versus this other sport or anything like that.
Yes. And if you get their interest ahead of time, like right when they're signing up, or while they're still engaged in the class, you can actually start formulating some of your lessons around that. So when you're in class, like little Johnny is a football player, he's interested in football. You can talk about when you're doing certain things in certain parts of the lesson, you can relate that and say, when you're playing football, here's this, and now you can use this here and there. And that keeps them like understanding and feeling like, hey, I need to keep doing both of these things as opposed to just choosing between one or the other.
Yep.
And the other part is the values, like the culture of your school is so important for retention because people naturally are going to be attracted to other people who have the same values, who value the same character aspects, who value the same, you guys know what values are, your core values. So is that being reinforced in your students? Are they consistently understanding like, hey, our values are in line? Because if they're not, that's an easy way for them to step away and to give you an excuse like, oh, they're doing this other camp, they're doing this other thing. But if you share values, it's hard for people to leave a tribe of people that share values. And so it's super important to understand, what kind of things do they value? What are their core values, and how does your school reinforce those? And then, of course, excitement. Quickly, how quickly and frequently can they see results and measure progress? Are you rewarding small, tiny, successful, tiny little micro milestones to get them excited? The faster that they can feel the sense of achievement, no matter what you're teaching, the more likely they are to stick around. And that's actually, there's been tons of studies done with that, even in grade schools and high schools and colleges, that when a student feels like they're doing good at something, they tend to be better at that thing. If somebody in first grade says, man, you're really good at math, that sticks with them until they're adults. And the same is true the other way. If they say, boy, you're really uncoordinated, you're really a klutz, it sticks with them their whole life. And so it's important that you're giving them frequent, you're actually, celebrating tiny little improvements and helping them see, because that if they're excited about being there, if they feel like they're really getting better and improving, they're more likely to stick around longer.
Yeah. And I
So
think
those
that
are kind of the
also
key factors.
that also connects to the interests. If you know their interests and the values,
Right.
you can be excited about both of those things, right? I can when I if I hear little Johnny is a football player, I can ask him, "Hey, how did your football game go?" "Oh my gosh, that's," and we can celebrate that as a group, right? Or little Susie, like, "Well, my daughter Palmer is good at lacrosse." We can celebrate that or the value of it, right? Like, let's say Palmer gets named captain of her lacrosse team. Well, one of our values at her theater is leadership. So we can connect that for people. So, I mean, when I coach football, a lot of times we loved when people were involved in something like martial arts for the boys side of things. I know a lot of girls on Palmer's lacrosse team are involved in gymnastics. We love that because we know that that means they're coachable. We know that that means they're getting value somewhere else. And a lot of times, like captains, when I coach football, our captains were usually involved in some other thing outside of it. So that's and that's a big mindset change, I think, for a lot of owners, is because we have this history, this trauma of loss of students
Yeah.
because of these things. So we feel like it's us and them. And it's like, no, if we can actually start celebrating in that, then that sets us apart. And then a parent loves that the leader of the class is recognizing that, and then the parent can connect. Well, the reason why Johnny was named captain of his football team is because of the leadership skills that he's being
Yeah.
taught in martial arts or dance or whatever they're involved in.
You guys getting this? Is this landing on you? Are you this making sense? It's hard for us to know. We don't have any cameras on you guys.
Yeah.
You could turn your cameras on. It'd be fine with
Yeah.
me. You get some head nods, Maybe let us know in the chat. You
Yeah.
guys, is
And I
this
know sometimes we
landing?
come onto these trainings and we're like, all right, I want the silver bullet, I want the tool, give me the tool to keep them forever. But we need to shift our mindsets a little bit about how we view these things and what we're doing in our existing space before, because we can apply a tool all day long. We have this great tool to keep people in and give them value that's just like this one little tool, but it's still us versus this other sport or this other thing or whatever.
Right.
Even vacation. You guys put a lot of vacation for summer. Hey, I want my kid active during vacation. And we're going to talk about a way that you can keep them active. I don't want my kid to lose progress. My daughter, when we go on, like we went on a cruise this year and she missed some lacrosse practice, she brought her lacrosse stick. And
Yeah.
when we stopped in Orlando, she had to require, luckily I'm a coach, so I know what to do. But as a parent, like they might not know, okay, well, what am I supposed to have this kid do? We want our kids to be successful in what you're doing. So
Yeah.
even with vacation, okay, it doesn't need to be us versus vacation. It's like, hey, how can we actually supplement? How can we improve your vacation for you? Well, let's give your kids some active things to do while they're on vacation. So that when they get
Absolutely.
back, they want to come celebrate that with you, that they did that.
Yeah, totally. And that kind of leads into the curriculum being fun and effective. I think some
Yep.
schools think you have to choose one or the other. I've either got to be a fun school and nobody cares about how effective the teaching is, or I have to be super effective and there's no fun allowed in this. And you can actually do both. And in fact, they actually lead into each other. So if you have a fun environment, you can more effectively teach those lessons. And if you have an effective environment, you can actually make it fun very easily because you're so masterful at the actual art yourself. So this works in the classroom, which is great. You're doing work in the classroom and you're making it fun and effective. But there's also an aspect where they have, of course, in the classroom they have access to the instructors. They can ask you questions and get direct help. But at home is so important. And I have an uncle who is a school teacher, and not only is he a school teacher, but he like studies learning. And he was showing me this graph one time. I'm going to try and crudely draw it on the screen here. But he said when you learn something, your level of expertise and knowledge of it kind of does this little curve up like this. And that's while you're learning it. So that's like in class. And then what happens is the moment you leave that classroom, it just starts to do this decline like this. And you don't forget it fully, but the longer you go, the less you remember about it. And that's why they assign homework. And then homework takes you back up to this level of at least where you were at, right? And then you go home and you forget a little bit. And then you go back to class and you remember and maybe
Yep.
you learn a little more. So there's this constant decline. Now, if you skip this homework step, what happens is you start to decline and then you're finding yourself reteaching them back to where they were originally. And then you
Yep.
find this decline again. And then you got this.
I
So
wonder
what
if
we really,
anybody's ever experienced what I, as a coach, what I call Monday practice. It's just a term I have, Monday practice, where
yeah,
it's their first class or their first lesson after maybe an extended break. Maybe it was spring break or a couple weeks off for a holiday, or they missed last week, or it's just Monday. They had the weekend, and then there's like always that like, okay, we're gonna have a Monday practice today, where it's just like no one's dialed in. Their mindset's all over the place. It's like, this is stuff we worked on months ago. How can you forget this? If you've ever experienced what I like to call a Monday practice, go ahead and throw that in the chat. I'm curious if it's just me. Right now, my daughter is 10. I coached varsity sports for a very long time. So now I'm coaching these little girls. A lot of dads helping, and they get frustrated on Monday practices. And I'm like, hey guys, this is just the nature of the beast. There's
Yeah.
there's Monday practice. There's, hey, they had, 3 days of Cheetos and cartoons, and now we're expecting them to come back out here and be, super, dialed in. So there's definitely a way we're going to help with that today as well. And again, that linchpin of how do we solve that part, but also how do we continue to add that value for people that are going out of town, or they're sick, or a parent wants to support, or they do have a camp. I mean, these are all legitimate reasons, honestly.
Yeah.
They're legitimate reasons for missing. Like I said, we went on a cruise and my daughter missed some lacrosse. That's going to happen. Monday practice after spring break, Carl. Yep, those are tough,
Definitely.
especially if you teach like a spring sport, or you have a spring performance. It's almost like we're kind of hitting reset. So home study is important,
Yeah.
but it's a hard tool
100%.
to do as a school owner. It's a hard thing to provide. It's a hard thing to track, if you don't have the right tool in place. And we're going to go over that today. Exactly what type of tool you can use to do that. So
100%. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to quickly read through some of these things. So obviously, home study is going to give the students enhanced practice. They're going to be able to reinforce those things at home. It's convenient. Students are able to see instruction materials. They can go through drills. They can do all their resources, and it really kind of helps create that habit. There was a lot of times that I dreaded having to help Colin to practice his stuff because it was like, here we go. He's not going to remember, or I'm going to remember, and he will remember differently. So having a way to do all that stuff at home, and then to track progress, to let them set goals, to get feedback from instructors. And it also promotes accountability where you're able to see where they're at and their process through home study. It also helps you continue learning while they're on breaks. We talked a little bit about that, like if they're on vacation or if they're doing something else or they can't make it into class for a couple weeks. I remember there was a few times when it was just like we just had a busy schedule. We had stuff we had to do with the church, or we had stuff we had to do with friends, and we couldn't make it in that week. And it really felt like, it kind of it kind of sucks that we have to keep paying for this when we can't get in there.
right.
And I'm sure you guys experience that too. And somebody, I forget who it was. I think it was Randy Reed who said, your tuition is for the right to come and practice in my studio, not the option, right? It's like if you're not here, you still have to pay for your tuition. But if you don't have any way to provide value, it makes it a little more difficult
Hmm.
to have that continued learning. And of course, retention and loyalty. If you have a student that leaves, even if they do leave for a while, and you can keep them in your curriculum and you can keep them learning your stuff, they're not going to go back to somebody else. They're not going to go back to a competitor because of that loyalty to stay committed to your actual training. And so I want to give you a little overview of the platform. But before we do that, if you guys have any questions,
Yeah.
feel free to chat those in right now. Let us know. I think we're mostly on Zoom. I think we're on
Yeah.
YouTube too. So we're looking at
Yep.
those
Yep.
comments. Facebook's not letting us stream right now, but
That's all right. Well, and as you're pulling that up, John, I mean, all those things are important because, well, it needs to be seamless, right? We don't want to just be like, hey, go on YouTube. Here's some videos I found, right? Because then that creates like, okay, well, who is this? Why are you sending me just random people? Like, we want everybody to be in our culture,
yeah.
for a lot of different reasons. If they're going to be gone, let's say all summer, that's okay. I mean, it's not ideal, but that's okay. Um, if we could keep them in the culture and keep them learning, then they're naturally going to come back, right? If I'm on a diet most of the year, but then the summertime, I'm not really on a diet. If I can do just little aspects of that diet, it's easy for me to get back on that routine once. Because summer, like for us, my wife is a teacher. Obviously, John and I own our own business, and we're able to make our own schedules, so we have a lot of different freedom. The structure isn't quite there, so it is hard for me to like eat well and exercise like I normally do in the summer because we're just thrown off. But if I can just do little snippets of that throughout the summer, it's super easy to keep that switch going. If it's a total disconnect, it's so much harder. And that's where we see students that say they're going to come back after a break that don't. It's not because they don't like you or anything like that. It's because unfortunately the it's been unplugged. I've turned off the PlayStation instead of putting it in sleep mode. I want to put it in sleep mode so I can just turn it right back on. I don't want to have to reboot the whole thing, right? Um,
Right.
so that's really important. It needs to be seamless. It needs to be something that has your culture, because then that also, if it's not, it's kind of like, well, can I just look up these YouTube videos on my own? Or maybe there's something in there that doesn't add up. And parents want this stuff.
Yeah.
Parents want, if they're practicing 2 days a week, parents want to support you. Sometimes they don't know how. So they do go look stuff up, and,
Hmm.
and then it's the wrong thing. And now it's you versus the parent, and and it just, if we can just create this ecosystem of everything we want to do and track and have accountability, it makes it so no one wants to leave. It creates those values all the time. People are still all these things we're talking about. Are you still going to get some people to leave? Yeah, some people are going to leave. That's the nature of the beast. But let's say we normally lose 25 people over a summertime. I mean, this could naturally cut it down to maybe five, and those five
Easy.
might come back, right?
Right.
Or if it's too expensive, it allows you to provide another resource. Maybe they just have access to the online training over the summer for a cheaper tuition,
Yep.
keeps that budget going in. Because again, it's if I have it going recurring in some capacity, then it's easy to continue on. If I cut off an item financially, it's hard for me to add it back. So this does all those things for you guys as you try to provide value and keep people involved in your programs, even if they're out of town.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to give you a quick rundown. We're not going to get too deep into the weeds, but it's really very simple. The way that the platform is set up, this is the Follow Up Ninja. This is our piece of software that we use for all sorts of different things, but we're going to highlight this section right now, which is the membership area. And so what you can do is it's very customizable and it's super simple to do. So we can see a lot of school owners do it a lot of different ways. And so there's not really any cookie cutter way to do it. But what's great about it is it's so easily customizable. You can set these things up into what I like to call modules, which are like the little individual things, and then units. So it's almost like a textbook. Now you can do this obviously lots of different ways that you want to, but if you think of these big headings as units and then each one inside of it is a module, or like this is a section and this is a chapter, what you can do is you can easily go in and customize all the values in here. You can put documents, you can upload, like if you have a creed or something, or if you have like specific forms that you want students to fill out right when they come in, or links to places. There's all sorts of ways you can customize this. But what's great is in each individual section, you can put a video. Or in each individual module, you can put a video. It's as easy as just basically clicking a button, uploading that video, and then you can put in some steps here, some extra instruction and stuff. And just to kind of give you an idea of what this might look like for your portal, it's the same thing we use for our curriculum. And so we're giving you access to that as well. So you can lock certain things if you don't want them to see it at certain times. Like perhaps maybe you have like a, a black belt testing that they have to pass something else before they can access it. You can blur them out and lock them like this. But just to kind of give you an idea of what this might look like inside of these portals, you've got all these different modules. So it's so easy. It's obviously mobile friendly too. So it just kind of adapts right to a mobile screen. And then each section has these, what I like to call units. And then within those units, you've got these modules. And within the module, it's so easy for the student to just click in. They can watch the video. They can get whatever they want out of it. And they can run on through all the lessons. So you can set this up like really however you want. You can have all of your belt all the different skills needed for a belt, or all the different dance moves that are needed for the recital coming up, or all the different musical lessons that are required or all the different techniques that you need to learn this particular song. So there's a ton of ways you can use this. And it's so versatile and so powerful and so easy to use. And the best part is it does a lot for your retention.
Yeah.
So love to hear any questions or anything you guys have about this, but
it's I love how you can customize this any way you want. You can also have certificates. So if someone completes, you can celebrate that.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm sure, John, you'll get into the tracking aspect of things, but the fact that it's so customizable is I could actually, if I had a football player, I could create a section on different training techniques that will make them a better football player. You guys know there's different leverages and different things like that from a martial arts standpoint, or dance, footwork, and things like that. If you know that interest, you could create that. And then it's like, wow, they're supporting me in this. It's not me versus them. And then when they're successful at that, guess who they're going to credit? If they have a great like football game or a great tryout or whatever, or they go to the camp or something like that, who are they going to credit for the growth and success? They're going to credit you. Well, why would I ever leave this if that's what's actually making me better at this other thing I'm interested in too, right? So someone asked, how can you control access? You can just, yes, you can sell individual units or modules. Really, you just break it up that way. You can actually drip access, so they can't access things until they have certain things completed. You can only grant access to people that, I mean, it could just be a matter of them only getting granted access and the other things are locked. So you're in total control who has what. Like for a dance studio, they probably wouldn't want someone that's in like the younger performance to get access to the older performances materials, or martial arts, right? We might not want white belts to have, black belt training modules or whatever. So
Yep.
you're in total control of how they have those things. And I love this because it's also, you can assign like homework with it too. So it's really just something that you're in total control of who has and what they have, when they have it, how they have it. And you can also set up automations behind it. So if someone completes a lesson, you can actually automate an email or a text message to go to them, either celebrating that lesson or reminding them about the next class, or whatever it is. You can just have something kind of follow up with that. So I love the question. If you guys have any more questions about how that can look.
Yep. Totally. I was going to pull up some of the, I didn't want to release anybody's private information, but I want to try and pull up some of the analytics to be able to see where people are at in the tracking progress. I'll just show you this screen. So you can actually track the course progress. If you've set up assessments inside of the thing, inside of the course, you can view how they've done on it. You can track individual members. And then you can even track revenue if you're selling this as like an add-on or as a downsell. And what's great about it is what Travis is talking about, like you can automate the process to where when they do a certain thing, they get access to a certain part, or you can make it very manual if you just want to be able to say like, hey, I'm going to give you access to this thing. And then essentially what you do is, if you're familiar with the Follow-Up Ninja already, you just go into their contact and you just give them access. It's like right in their user profile. And if you're not using the Follow-Up Ninja, it's super easy. It's like basically just a little drop down that says, hey, here, you get access to this. So it's extremely easy to set up. And of course, we have all sorts of trainings on this stuff and how to set it up and how to do it the right way, and different techniques that you can use, but it's very customizable, and it's pretty much the sky's the limit on it.
Yeah. And I love, one of the other aspects is this is another avenue where someone says, hey, we're going to be gone for a few months. We can't justify $150 a month, $200 a month, or whatever it is. Hey, I agree. If I was gone for 3 months, I wouldn't want to pay that either. We would hate for little Johnny or little Susie to lose progress. We do have an online academy that's invite only, that is just, hey, it's $79 a month. That way she doesn't lose her progress. It keeps her active over the summer. You can keep track, Mom. I can keep track, Mom. I can give her feedback. I can reach out to her and connect with her or him, so that way we don't lose progress. And then when you guys are back, we hit the ground running and there's no catch up.
Yeah.
How does that sound? What are they going to do? Say, I mean, that's like, yeah, that's awesome. Oh, you mean my kid's going to have like some structure and direction over the summer? You know how many parents want structure and direction for their kids over the summer?
My gosh.
99.9%, right? So,
Yes.
wow, you're providing that for just X. I just paid $800 for a camp for them to have structure for 5 days.
Right.
I mean, I can have structure all summer for just a little bit of that. So, that's another avenue as well to kind of help. Again, I get it. Like all of us get it, right? If I'm not using something, I don't want to keep paying for it. So if we know we're not going to use it for a few months, that's okay. No problem. We have another offer that's available for you that's going to help you out. Here's the value of it. Boom.
Exactly. Cool. I'm just pulling up another screen here that I want to share real quick, but I just wanted to blur some stuff out. I didn't want to blast everybody's email addresses out in the public. So just wanted to go in and blur something real quick. Email addresses. All right. So let me see if I can share that screen instead. Let's go to stop share. And then let's share this one so you can kind of see how you can track the progress. Because if you want to see individually where each person is at different parts of their journey, you can actually see it just like this. I just screenshotted this. So you can see here, you've got all the email addresses appear here. I blurred all those out, but you can see when they started. You can see how much they've done of the program right here. Are you able to see all that? Is that coming through, Travis?
Yep, we can see it. Yep, their progress.
Yep. Progress. You can see how much of it they completed. You can see how many times they've logged in. You can see when the last time was that they logged in. So it's very useful as far as tracking progress and seeing like, hey, did you do that thing? When they're in the actual course, they can mark stuff complete. So they can just click a button and mark it as complete, and it'll show you that they completed it. You can put an assessment in there and ask them some questions. You can have them submit a video too, and they can just upload a video super easily too. So it's just such a powerful tool, and there's so many different features. I don't want to get bogged down into the weeds, but it's just we get so excited about it because for me personally, it was something that I always wanted for from a school that my son was attending. So
Yeah.
hopefully this is landing with you guys. Is this all making sense? Are you guys getting this? I'm seeing a lot of comments,
Yeah, a lot of
some
great
questions and
comments.
stuff. Yep.
People asking for some specifics. Yeah, if you're a current Follow Up Ninja member, yeah, we'll definitely make sure you get those specifics. So a couple questions there. And then even more detailed, if you actually would, and we don't need to do it right now, but if you click on that person's email on that screen, you can see if you have like individual lessons, what they've done and like how far they've gone in that lesson total.
Yep.
So it can even break down even more. And it's really just accountability. It's not like a gotcha or anything like that. It's just
Right.
accountability for people. Just to again provide more value, or a parent would love to know, hey, they haven't finished this, do they need any help, right? A
Right.
parent will, because kids
Yes.
right. So it's just a really good tool for accountability, and just for you to help and provide more for your students. And the more I get
Absolutely.
provided, the less I want to be a part of be a part of something else.
Exactly. Right. 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 So essentially, what this means for you is keeping students during those normal pause seasons, having a higher retention rate, having higher student satisfaction, faster
Yeah.
learning processes, leveraging your time and spending less time for that reteaching or those Monday lessons, Monday practices. You're going to improve your reputation too, because people are going to talk about these things. The bottom line is it's more value for your students, it's more revenue for you. It's a win-win scenario. And that's what is all included in the Follow Up Ninja. We've been trying to do these trainings for those of you guys that are using the Follow Up Ninja to see all the different things it does. But even if you're not on the Follow Up Ninja yet, we wanted to give you some opportunity to be able to do that as well. Somebody's asking about email follow-up. Yeah, you can absolutely, you can automate an email, you can automate a text message to go out when they finish a module, or if they haven't logged in for a while, we call them going stale. Absolutely, you can automate all of that stuff, or you can track it and do it manually. It's totally up to you. Either way is, I believe that there's not just one way to do things, right? There's good ways and bad ways, and so we give you both ways to do it. So definitely something that is a huge value add for students, a huge value add for school owners. Typically, a student membership portal like this would cost around $500 a year minimum. I've seen them
Minimum.
for much
Yeah.
more than that.
Honestly,
I've
good ones are
twelve
two
hundred,
hundred dollars a month.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
2,400 easily. But even just the cheapest, you know, just like with
Yeah.
no features,
If I want a
uncut,
Vimeo account where I can upload the videos and
right?
send people weird looking links and can't track
Yes.
anything, that's $500 a month.
Yes, easily. And so also within the File Ninja, we've gone over some of this stuff in the past, but the reputation and review management, that's easily worth $3,000 a year. Plug and play automation. So we talked about some of that stuff already, like being able to email a student either when they've logged in, when they've finished, when they haven't been in for a while. All those things are automated, and you can customize them however you want. Our mobile app, you also can have a mobile app for the membership portal. It's like a web hosted mobile app, but you can show them how to download, and then they're able to access all your trainings as well. And it's a little more contained that way. Appointment reminders, you get the social media planning that we've talked about quite a bit extensively, all of the AI that's included in this stuff too. You can even use the AI to like help you write lessons, which is pretty incredible. Like, how do I word this, or what's the, how do I make my class plan? All that stuff is included in the File Up Ninja. Event promos, registrations, be a separate training on that as well. All this is easily worth $6,500 a year, which is about a $500 per month real world value for all of these tools. You can set the stuff up in about 10 minutes. Setting up your entire curriculum is obviously going to take longer than that, but just getting started. And what else is great about this too is because you can drip the content out, you could take a new student and build this with them as they go through the curriculum. So you're doubling your value. If you have someone that's a brand new student, you could take it and you just record the lesson, upload it. They've got access to it. The next lesson, you record it, you upload, and then you're not trying to like make this big production out of it. It really doesn't take any extra time other than to go in and upload it. So the real question is, what would this be worth to you? And if, let's say you're charging $150 a month, let's say that if all it did was help you keep 12 extra students for an extra 6 months, that's a pretty small order, I would say. I mean, that's not asking for a whole lot to keep an extra 12 students for an extra 6 months. If we did the math on this, it's 150 times 6 is $900 in extra revenue with only 12 students. That's an extra $10,000 in added value to your school just by adding this one simple tool. It's only extending, it's really just saying one student every month, you just help them extend for an extra six, right? I mean, there's nothing to that. Obviously, there's no guarantees, and it depends on how you implement it and put the work into it. But I mean, how hard would that be? It seems like it would just be an absolute no-brainer to extend a few students here and there for an extra 6 months. This would be a total steal at 6,500. For those of you who are already on it, you already know. But if you're not using the Follow Up Ninja yet, normally, $3,000 per year. We're not even going to ask you for that. What you can get started with today is just $167 per month. Travis has put the link in the chat already. If you're watching a replay on this, you might see a button around the video that you can click to enroll for that $167 per month. No contracts, no long-term anything. Like, we want you to be getting value out of it, and we know you will because of all the stuff that we've stacked into it, which is why we're able to offer it at this price. $167 a month. You can get it right there at thefollowupninja.com. It comes with all that stuff we talked about, the plug and play automations, the mobile app, the reputation management, the appointment reminder, social media, planner, the event promos, and of course the student membership portal, which we just talked through today. All that's included in the $167 per month price. But we also have another really cool thing that we've decided to just kind of extend that we've given away in the past is if you upgrade to the annual billing, you get 2 free months. Plus, we'll build you a fully customizable lead generating website that's already got SEO built in. It has a SSL certificate, so it's got a safe browsing. It's got the Google Business Profile training comes with that as well. So we'll show you exactly how to set up your Google Business Profile so that it gets free traffic to your site. All of this with just by upgrading to the annual billing. So
yeah, the website's someone actually commented, someone's using the Follow Up Ninja, that they want this membership area to connect to their website. Super easy to connect. We're very excited about that. That's awesome. And I actually just got a message from someone yesterday. They just launched their website from the annual billing. And they're like, oh, I already got 3 students from this web. I had a website for 2 years that they spent a couple grand on. Never got any students. It was beautiful. And they just texted me. They just switched to a Follow Up Ninja website. And if 48 hours later, they had 3 brand new students from it. It's like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Amazing. Right. That tracks. That's lining up with what we see. So just a quick recap of everything you get. All this stuff. If you do upgrade to the fully customizable website with that annual billing, that's worth easily a couple $1,000s per year, which would bring the total value over $700 per month in real world value that you can get right now for just that $167 per month, or $1,670 for the full year, which includes the website if you did that. So totally up to you, optional, but 2 free months and a fully customizable website. This is a pretty cool thing, I think. Ask anyone. It's the best website there's ever been. Sorry, my son does this all the time. So any questions about any of that? Who's got questions? Who's got anything that we want to dive into? If you're already on it, if you're already on Follow Up Ninja, if you're already on annual billing, you already got your website, or if you need the website, I mean, either way, we're all good with that. We're going to make sure we honor all that stuff. So I think we're good to go on all that stuff. Somebody's got some questions.
Yeah. So I'm going to pause this here. So if you if you are there, I got Haley, I sent her a message. Would this work if I'm operating out of an existing studio? Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
I can't tell you how many studios and schools have started kind of subletting out of somewhere else. Actually having a really dialed in website and having kind of like a membership portal adds even more value. It kind of overcomes anything that sometimes we have in our mind about, oh, well, I'm subletting. I don't really like that. That solves all of that. So absolutely, I would encourage it if you don't. Because hey, people are going to have, when they step in, they might say, well, wait a minute, where am I? You're saying this business, but I see this sign. But if we have a dialed in website and it's like, oh, here's that culture online and here's all this stuff, it just overcomes all of that. So yeah, and then there was a question, hey, can the Follow Up Ninja be used as CRM? Depends on, there's a lot of different definitions of CRM because some people use that term really broadly for a lot of different things. Yes, it is a CRM, but I think it's Michael Plessel in there right now.
Yep.
We talked a few times. What specifically would you look for it to do? Because I don't want to say it does something that it doesn't do. That wouldn't be fair to you.
Right. Like tools like what you mentioned there, Michael. Some of those are really more designed for like taking attendance in class and, going through ranks and really managing the school, which the Follow Up Ninja could most likely do, but it's not built in already. So it really depends on how much you're using, how are you using those platforms, what kind of things are you trying to keep track of, what kind of customer relationship management are you actually trying to achieve. And it could be something where we have to go in and actually custom build it out for you inside the Follow Up Ninja. It could be stuff that's already built in or that we've already done in someone else's account that we could kind of copy over. So I'd be interested to talk to you and see what you're using those tools for, and how we could implement some of that stuff in the Follow Up Ninja as well. It's really designed for kind of the key factors that we talk about here, which is, obviously marketing is going to be top of the list. There's not a better tool for marketing than the Follow Up Ninja when it comes to martial arts schools, dance studios, music schools. What else we have? Gymnastic schools. If you need students of any kind, there's not a better tool than the Follow Up Ninja. And then, of course, all these sort of extra things that people usually pay for outside of a marketing type application, as far as like reputation management, automations, mobile app, appointment reminders, social media planning, event promos, the membership portal, of course, the website. That's the key features. That's where all the value really is at. And then, it does obviously multi-channel communication. So emails, text messages, all different kinds of messengers, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, all those things. So it pulls all that stuff together into one place. But as far as like managing belt ranks and managing attendance and that kind of thing, we could probably figure something out to build it out pretty easily. But it really depends on how deeply you're using those tools and what it is about those tools that you like. So, I wouldn't want to say yes for sure and then it not provide what you're looking for. We're fans of underselling and over delivering.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good question. Someone asked about kind of and Michael said, "Cool, thanks." Yeah, the biggest thing is it's a really communication, right? Not so much tracking people's progress, but it can do that. So, someone asked a question, hey, does all this have the benefits with a manual and stuff like that? Yes, and I can answer this in the chat as well. So if you when you join the Follow Up Ninja, the first thing we want to do is we want to schedule an onboarding call and figure out, hey, what's the first thing that you want to accomplish? I talked to someone last week, Chris, who jumped on, and his biggest thing was email communication. He needed to set that up. So we worked on that first. Hey, what's the most important thing? And then we have, trainings, support, and all that kind of stuff to make sure. Because people are going to use all of these things. Some people are going to use a couple pieces. Honestly, for me, this is super valuable just as a social media planner and having all those posts just by itself without all these other things. So if there's a school that, hey, this is all we're going to use it for, then we walk you through on how to do that. If you're going to use everything, then we want to figure out what the first most important thing is. And then we're going to support you and making sure that things are implemented in the right way too. A lot of times when you have something with features like this, MK, you can get caught up like I have all these things that I need to do. And it's like, what's the most important thing that's going to impact keeping students and getting new students in the door first? And then once we have that dialed in, what's the next most important thing? And we work with you through that. So
absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. And if you're part of our Student Magnet program, everything is absolutely laid out step by step, one thing at a time. And that's really for if you're looking to grow the studio. So if you're looking to grow the school and you need more students and you want to get more students in, we have a absolutely step by step, click by click, every single thing you need to do to get students in the door. It's called our Student Magnet program. If that's something you're interested in, just say something in the chat and, help us maybe privately message Travis in the chat and give us your contact information so that we can get in touch with you and set up a call to talk through what that looks like. And see if it's a good fit. It might not be a good fit. I'd say, if we have 100 calls, maybe 25 of those will point in a different direction. But if you're really looking for a way to grow the studio, then definitely the Student Magnet program is where it's at. And, within that is also training on how to implement a lot of the Student Magnet or a lot of the Follow Up Ninja features in the right order and that sort of thing. But without that, obviously the Follow Up Ninja is an awesome tool. And if you have sort of a plan of what you want to attack on, we can help you customize that and work through that as well. So hopefully that answers that question. Any other questions, Travis, that you see coming through?
not that I can see right
channels.
now.
The only channel I can actually see right now is Zoom chat, so I'm not able to see any of the
Yeah.
other comments.
I got a text from Courtney. She just left, but it might be a good question for everybody. She said, what's the difference between like the Follow Up Ninja and something like MailChimp?
Okay. Well,
I said, I'm gonna the Ninja can do everything MailChimp does. The MailChimp cannot do everything Ninja
yeah,
does.
it's like, what's the difference between a square and a tesseract? There might be a square in a tesseract, but no one would mistake the two. Um, I don't have an exact comparison to Mailchimp. I used Mailchimp way, way, way back in the day. Um, from what I understand, from what I remember, Mailchimp was basically a email builder and
Yeah.
maybe an autoresponder. So like send emails at certain times, you could have a list in there. Um, so if you were to look at sort of the list of stuff that um, maybe
Yeah, I mean,
the
MailChimp really is going to handle, and I do know they have some new features with some things, but MailChimp was designed as a mass emailer.
yeah,
And so anything they add to it, it's not a knock on MailChimp. MailChimp does good for just, hey, if all I want to do is be able to mass email my list and kind of set up some email sequences and things like that, it's pretty solid for that. Um, Honestly, the cost is going to be about the same. So the Follow Up
right,
Ninja does that. MailChimp, anything they add to it, and again, it's not a knock on them. It's just something that they've kind of added on because of the times, but it's not what it was designed to do. Um, so that's really what it's kind of limited to. The things that they've added on with some maybe some SMS stuff is going to be limited. You can't respond to it, or the AI is kind of wonky. And again, it's not a knock on them. It's just it's kind of like, hey, we're really good at having just a solo email system, but man, there's all these other things people need. So let's kind of throw that on there. It's kind of like if you go to a sports bar and order Italian food. Yeah, it's on the menu, but is it really Italian food, right? Well,
right.
they feel like they need to have it there because some people love pasta, right? So if I go to a wing bar and order a salad, it's probably not going to be an amazing salad. Doesn't mean there aren't places that have that. But so yeah, MailChimp is really good at having just an email builder. But honestly, the File Ninja is really good at it too. All the same features, and they're about the same investment from a monthly standpoint.
Yeah,
Um, so why not have the other features like social media planner, website builder, membership portal, SMS capability with natural responses and things like that. So
amazing, amazing, amazing. Cool. Joe's got some nice things to say. He said, Student Magnet's wonderful. T Fund website also wonderful. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that, sir. He's been with us a good while. Awesome.
yep. Perfect. Well, if there's any other questions, guys, go ahead and get them in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, go ahead and just message them to the chat bot below. That goes actually to me. The chat bot just starts the conversation, so it's you're not. We talk about AI, but I like having one-on-one interaction with people. So
For sure.
feel free to message that in here in the comments. But we're excited that hopefully we saw some value here today. You guys got some tools. You saw the importance of making sure our ecosystem is set up for student success. It's not us versus their other activities. It's us with their
Right.
other activities. Um, can you email? So MK is asking a question. Can you email me now? I'm confused. What does the Follow Ninja do to gain students, or the Student Magnet do different? I heard person started 48 hours. Yeah. So the 48 hours later, they had 3 new students. That was someone who built their website inside the Follow Up Ninja, and 48 hours later, they had 3 new students from their website. So they had a fully optimized website that was designed to get students in the door. So the Follow Up Ninja is really designed to the Follow Up Ninja is designed to optimize anything you're doing to interact with people. It's designed to streamline it, to make your life easier, and it's designed to optimize the conversion from that interaction. That might be
Right.
a social media post, that might be going to a fair, that might be providing a membership portal, things of that nature. So that's what this Follow Up Ninja is designed. I have a website, someone interacts with that. I want to optimize their experience so they come in the door. The Student Magnet is a system that teaches you step by step on how to effectively run paid marketing for your school.
Right.
It does integrate with the follow up. So that way, when I'm reaching out from paid marketing, the follow up is happening inside the Follow Up Ninja. So it's optimized and streamlined. So that's how they're kind of different, if that makes sense. They work very, very well together, but they also work very, very well independently. So if you're looking for something to optimize all of my interactions with people, then hey, yeah, Follow Up Ninja is a great tool for you. If you're also looking for, hey, I need to get better at my paid marketing, then the Student Magnet is a really good tool for you as well. So,
Yeah.
MK, if that doesn't help, feel free to kind of rephrase if you want, or I'm not really quite sure who MK is. So if you want to put your name in, I can reach out to you directly.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. And then I think hopefully
Carl had the
all
same
that gives
question,
some
but I think that
clarity too.
I guess the student magnet is really curriculum. So it's a training, it's a strategy, it's a process, it's coaching, it's a complete step by step actual like program. And then the follow up ninja is like a weapon that you would use in that training, right? So if you're teaching martial arts and you're teaching, you have a curriculum and then you have a weapon. So the curriculum is a student magnet, follow up ninja is the weapon. If you're teaching dance, um, the curriculum, the way that you teach it, the steps that you take, that's the student magnet. And then maybe I don't know, the tools, what kind of tools are they using? It's a little bit different. The special shoes, the different things you're interacting with. That's more of what the follow-up ninja is. But follow-up ninja is more of a tool. Student magnet is more of a strategy. So hopefully that's clarifying that.
Perfect. And Jeff, I just sent you a text. So, Carl, if that doesn't clarify, I can send you a text as well. That way we can make sure we communicate it and get you some clarity. Just let me know if you want me to shoot you a message, and I will. I don't want to shoot you one if you got the clarity you were looking for.
So T-Fun is like a software. Follow-up ninja is a software. Student magnet is a training.
Yep. And Carl, I'll shoot you a note too, just so I can help you with that. Okay, cool. And then Andy Morales, who's a Student Magnet member, also using the Follow Up Ninja. I think I love Andy's like, hey, what can I use this thing for? What other cool stuff does this car do? You'd be a good Tesla driver, I think, Andy. You'd like a Tesla. You'd always like to see all the new features that they have. But question about event launch. Yeah, so there's and we can maybe get into the weeds of this, or John, maybe we can navigate it outside of this. But he's asking about this thing called Event Launch. Event Launch is a training and a program on how to effectively market and follow up with events. We actually did a training about it a few weeks back that is included with our Follow Up Ninja members. So if you have the Follow Up Ninja, we actually give you a training on how to run ads to an event, how to follow up to an event. So that way, when you have an event at your school, people are coming to it. And then how do I optimize that event to turn into enrollments? So that's what Event Launch is. He had a question about the event launch automations. Did you want to dive into that now, John, or maybe send him a note separately?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do it separately.
Okay.
His account is like you said, maxed out. He's using it to the full potential. I don't want to overwhelm anybody, but yeah, Andy, we can definitely jump on if you can make it on the Q&A Thursday, or if you want to just drop me a line on the support ticket and we'll get that taken care of.
Perfect. Cool. Awesome. Great questions. Great questions.
For sure. For sure. Well, we're coming up on an hour. I guess we could probably call it if you guys are out of questions and ready to go. I'll go ahead and run that. We got about a 5-minute video that I can play for you that gives you a little bit more kind of details on the Follow Up Ninja. And then we'll just end the call after that if that's cool.
That works good to me. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, let's do that. All right, guys. Good having you on here. We will be talking to you very soon. What if there was one simple tool that you could plug into your social media and your school website that would double, triple, and sometimes even quadruple your odds of converting leads into paying students? I'm about to show you a tool that is proven to do just that, and with no tech savvy needed. It's probably easier to use than anything you've ever tried before. It's called the Follow Up Ninja, and the idea is simple but powerful. Here's how it works. When you sign up for the Follow Up Ninja, you're able to click a few buttons and follow a few dead simple steps to link the app to your social media profiles and website. Once you're linked up, every new lead that comes in from your website, social media, messenger, and even lead form ads will automatically start getting follow-up messages that nurture them towards signing up for your classes. So how does this simple tool boost conversions immediately? The reason is simple: hybrid intelligent automation. This eliminates all possible human errors, and more importantly, it eliminates the frustration of chasing down bad leads. The number one absolutely most frustrating thing about doing lead follow-up manually is the time wasted on leads who never answer the phone and never take any action. It's the reason why most school marketing campaigns fail. On the flip side, the issue with automation has always been that it's missing that human touch and can be confusing if a lead responds with a question and then gets the wrong answer to their question or some other automated response instead. If people think a machine is talking to them, they will get frustrated or simply ignore it. This has always been the issue with automating the process until now. The Follow Up Ninja destroys this challenge with its one-of-a-kind hybrid intelligence model. The automated follow-up messages are friendly and personable, and as soon as a lead replies to the messages, you get notified and can take the conversation over manually. This hybrid intelligence allows you to completely ignore all the bad leads and at the same time allows you to only talk to the highest and best quality leads so that you can still provide that human interaction without getting bogged down in chasing after unresponsive leads. Now, instead of wasting time chasing people down who will never sign up for classes, you can spend your time teaching classes and running your school. The Follow Up Ninja automatically follows up with every lead and notifies you when a lead has a question, books an appointment, or pays for a trial online. For example, let's say you have a Facebook ad running and it's generating 3 to 5 leads per day. To get the most return on your ad spend, you'd have to stop what you're doing 3 to 5 times per day to send out text messages or emails and then wait around for replies. And if none of those leads got back to you on day 1, you're doing twice the work on day 2, trying to juggle the new leads while continuing the follow-up process on the leads from the day before. Every day, the process multiplies in complexity and it's overwhelming, and then you give up. With the Follow Up Ninja, everything is done automatically. Your leads get daily follow-up messages automatically. Plus, they even get a link to set their own appointments in time slots you've pre-selected. Worried about double booking? We've got you covered there too. You can set the calendar to accept one appointment at a time or limit it to as many multiples as you want, and you'll never be double booked again. You can even plug the Follow Up Ninja into your Google Calendar with a couple clicks. What about appointment reminders? The Follow Up Ninja will automatically send appointment reminders via text message to your leads so that you can count on a high show-up rate. What about situations where you have different class times or different ages or different promotions going on at the same time? It works then too. For example, we've seen school owners promoting a free week of class, camps, even after-school programs, all at the same time, all with different age-appropriate time slots, and the Follow Up Ninja keeps up with all of it. Most importantly, we've seen as high as 50% of cold leads book appointments from an ad on social media. That means if you get 100 leads, you could have as many as 50 appointments. Imagine what you could do with all those appointments. More appointments means more opportunities to enroll more students. In this case, 50 opportunities. Instead of paying thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars to a big team of internet marketers or an agency, or wasting months with trial and error trying to do it all yourself, or even relying on a minimum wage employee to do all the follow-up manually, the Follow Up Ninja comes pre-installed with our winning campaigns that you can easily customize in seconds for nowhere near the cost of a manual solution. Adding the Follow Up Ninja to your marketing strategy today is guaranteed to boost your conversions. Get access to this powerful hybrid intelligent follow-up tool right now. In just the next few weeks, you could be doubling, tripling, or even quadrupling your conversions by adding this simple tool to your marketing strategy. To get started, just click the button on this page, and I look forward to seeing you on the